Alrighty, I want to try a little something here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yes! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today is a very exciting video. We're working on the Datsun 280Zx and she's about to get a full makeover. So it passed the roadworthy with flying colours, which is amazing. I'm very stoked. So now the car is going to be legal to drive on the road. I'm just waiting for the paperwork to come in the mail so that we can take it into Vic Roads and they can give us our plates and then she'll be good to go. But in the meantime, that means that we are good to go ahead and do what I want to do to this car. So here we have a bunch of goodies. First of all, we have a set of GK Tech spacers. GK Tech make amazing stuff, really high quality gear. That it's an Australian owned business, which is freaking awesome. So we've got some 30mm spacers for the front and we've got some 40mm spacers for the rear, which is rad. So shout out to GK Tech. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but they just make cool stuff, so I like them. Next up we have a coilover conversion kit, because we're going to be making our own coilovers for the car. I have some S13 Sylvia suspension. It's damper adjustable, which is what we want, and we're going to be using this coilover conversion kit with this gear to make our own coilovers. There will be some cutting and welding involved for the front, which I'm a little bit scared about, but we're going to get it done and it's going to be freaking awesome. And of course we have some bolt-on fender flares that we will be fitting to the car. So lots to get done, but first things first, I'll get it up in the air on some axle stands. We'll start pulling out the suspension and assess what needs to be done for us to have this thing slammed on the ground and hopefully riding a bit better, because it's a bit boaty at the moment with the stock suspension. I had to drive 50 kilometers to get the roadworthy and 50 kilometers home, so it was the first real big drive for the car and it felt so good to drive. It felt perfect. So very happy with the way that this car runs and the way it feels on the road, and it's only going to get better. Alrighty, so we have all of the wheels off, car's in the air obviously. So for the front suspension, it's just two 17mm bolts, so one here and one on the other side. And then the whole suspension, everything comes off as one, which is pretty crazy. Actually, I did not even realise. So the brakes and everything come with it. So we might have to pull the caliper off. And of course there's three 17mm bolts on the top of the struts. So there's 3 bolts up top here. And then the whole suspension and the brake comes out as one piece, and then we have to start cutting it up and figuring out how we're going to make our coilover. Just like that. That was really simple, which makes me really happy because it's hot today and I don't really feel like doing anything that's super hard. Alright, let's get the other side out and see what we have to do for these coilovers. Alrighty, so after a little bit of trial and error just to see how we're going to do things, I've decided to go with an adjustable coilover setup for the front. I had some spare coilovers laying around, so we're going to cut this off here, right? And then we've got the body of the coilover, so it's body adjustable, so it'll slip over the little butt that we leave and then it welds to here nice and strong, and then we have a adjustable coilover. And then of course we put the spring in and the top hat and everything, and it becomes one full piece. So that's pretty simple. Yeah, luckily I had these lying around. If not, I would have gone ahead and bought some coilovers. I'll probably still go ahead and buy some brand new coilovers and then chuck them in. This part we won't have to change. This is the hardest part, is the cutting and the welding. So we'll go ahead and do that and chuck the whole thing together and kind of see how it comes out. Alrighty, so that is how it is. We ground it off. It was not super easy, but as you can see we've left quite a bit of meat sticking out so that we've got the body of our adjustable coilover. I've ground it down as well so that we're going to get nice contact with the welds. Literally slips over and then you weld it up. You got yourself a nice coilover. So not super difficult if you know how to weld. Right, time to weld. Alright, now let's chuck the coilover together and see how it all looks. Alright, Dan's here. Hey Dan.
Hello.
He's removing the rear suspension.
Gotta make it lower?
Way lower. Yes, I'm so glad it's not just me working here on the car by myself. So much more fun working on cars with friends. And we are going to go ahead and throw this coilover together. Spring goes on. Boom. Just like that. Oh, it's very hard to do with one hand. Top hat goes on. Boom. And of course, the S13 part that bolts up to the top of the car, just like that. And then that is our coilover. Put the bolt on the top, and then this simply screws into this, and we have ourselves a full coilover. Yeah! How exciting. And Dan has the rear coilover out. The stock one.
3 bolts at the top, 1 bolt at the bottom.
That's easy, dude. What's it look like compared to this, the size? Cool, that's shorter, nice. Alright, we'll chuck the rear coilover together. We need to get this top hat off. Because that top hat we're using on this. Because the top hats are different, that's 3 bolt, the S13 one's 2 bolt. Man, simple but fun. Alrighty, so our first coilover that we've built is ready to go back in the car. I'm really proud of this actually. It's all like a million different colours, but it should do the job. Alright, we'll chuck it in and see how it all comes together. Alright, coilover is fully installed. Look at that. Super nice. Obviously we haven't tightened this up yet because we need to know at what height we need the car. Look at that. Space is on. She sits nice and wide, which is awesome. Obviously need to go way lower, but we need the other front coilover in so we can lower it down and kind of test the height. Then of course, we have the flare sitting over. We may actually have to run the wider flares because that's quite far out, which is rad. I need to chuck the rear on as well. Yeah, it's gonna look so good. The rear spacers, 40 mils. Straight on, super easy. Joel's impressed, are you impressed? Yeah, nice. I'm impressed with the new haircut, so. Cool. Oh, cool. No doubt. Let's have a look. Jacked off.
Jacked up. It's gonna slip out.
No. That's what she said, by the way. Oh, that's what you want.
Oh, Michael.
Nice?
Stop it. I like this, like just that rear quarter line. Like with the...
Yeah.
It just looks cool.
Oh, it's so mint. It literally looks insane.
Are you gonna cut?
Yeah. So while I'm doing the other side coilover, don't laugh at me for making mistakes, Dan is going ahead and going to cut the guard so that the wheel has some travel.
Always cut less.
Yeah, always cut less and not more. Otherwise, you can't put the more back if you need it. Yeah, so that we can fit our first flare and see how that's all going to go. This is our rear coilover all assembled. Very basic. At the moment we've got it as low as it can go, but we'll raise it up a little bit. But should sit somewhere around this height right now, although Dan's about to let it down. Back to 4-wheel drive height. Look at that. Basically airbags, but not at all. Last minute measurements. Yep, wicked.
Does that look good?
Looks great. Sorry in advance to everyone who was about to cringe when they see us cutting Datsun Z guards. It is what it is, man. Alrighty, so we'll cut the first layer of metal out, just like this. Now we cut slots in the metal, bend it all up, and you need to tack weld it to here so that water and stuff can't get in it and rust it out, and then seal it up. So we'll bend it up now, and then cut the excess off. I'll chuck a couple of tacks on at some point, and then we're going to fit our first flare on this side. See what it looks like. Dan's done all the hard work on the flare. I don't trust myself, so I'm just continuing to build coilovers. It's going to be sick though. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and fit the bolt-on flare just so we can make the holes. Here you go. And here you go, here's a screw. We've already drilled a pilot hole, so we're drilling a pilot hole for all of our screws to make it all nice and tidy. And then we'll pull that off, pull the masking tape off, tack these bits up nicely, and then we'll cut the excess off, and that'll be that flare fitted and the guard cut. Just super tidy. Yes. Look at that, my first bolt-on flare fitted, super nice. So now we need to go ahead and pull it off, even though we just put it on, so that we can finish the actual guard itself, and then we can put coilover in and sit them down on the ground and actually see what height it sits at, and then just adjust the coilovers as we need. Whew!
Sick.
That's a massive mission, eh?
Yep.
A good one. Good mission. Just a big one. Alrighty, so we're going ahead and test fitting the front flares now. Nice. Looks rad. So now Dan's just going to cut the metal out from under there, which is super easy because there's only one layer of metal here. I'm going to go ahead and just tack these up. And then that's that guard done. We can chuck the guard on. We're going to chuck the coilovers in and put the car on the ground and see how it looks. Are you pumped?
Should be good.
Yeah, I'm keen.
I hope.
Might have to adjust it a little bit in height, but we've made a little bit of a mess today. But for a good cause. Oh, I went ahead and made the other coilover as well. So that's ready to go on the other side at the front. So, a lot of progress. So we've tacked all of that up. Now we go ahead and cut all of these tabs off, and then you seal under the guard all nicely. But Dan's about to grind the front guard. Done. And we could sell that as a bolt-on flare for someone else. Do you want it for your car?
Yeah, probably.
Dude, perfect. That's that done. Alrighty. So this guard at the moment is just as we're going to leave it. Nice and tacked up. Super high. And now we're going to put the flare over top.
We will be making it nicer.
We will make it nicer for sure. One-handed flare install. Man, that's a talent in its own right. Oh, sorry. Okay, Dan's taking over. He doesn't trust my one-handed flare install. That looks so freaking cool.
Happy with it?
Yeah, absolutely. We have finished fitting the flares and they look so good. Everything coming up. Millhouse. Looks wicked. Thanks to Dan and his massive attention to detail. Everything looks wicked. Super smooth. Now we're just chucking the rear coilover setup in, and then we'll go ahead and put some wheels on and put it on the ground, which is like the best part of all. And then we've got to set the height to make sure that it's sitting nice. Starting to transform into a very cool car. Dude, should just leave it as a hover car. Looks mint. Alright, moment of truth. We're going to put the jack under it, take it off the axle stands and see what it looks like. Come down to the slab, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Oh. Nope, that's just sitting. Uh oh.
It's trying to drop lower, you realise?
Yeah, it's no good. Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know.
Go. 3, 2, 1.
Every type of that.
Look at this side. Yep, that's about right. Woo! Alright, we'll get the front down. Wow. Alrighty, so it's another day. Unfortunately, we ran out of sunlight while we were filming, so we couldn't carry on last night. Well, we're back. We've had the car on the ground. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, it's back up on jack stands now, and that is because I'm dealing with the toe that we had in the back. It was towing in way too much. So the wheel was way too far in the guard. Not really, I wouldn't say drivable like that. Unfortunately, these cars don't have a lot of adjustment here in this A-arm for tow. Actually, don't have any adjustment at all. You just, whatever your toe and your camber is, that's what it is. So what I've done is gone ahead and made some adjustment by slotting the subframe. So here we can see the bolt. I've actually slotted it so that I can now move it, right? And then what I'll do is I'll set the toe, and then I'll tack a weld here so that it can't slip, because that will be the only risk, is that it's not that it could slip, you know, while driving. So once I set the toe properly to where I'm happy with, I've got toe plates, I'll tack a weld on here so that it can't move, and whenever I want to go ahead and change that in the future, you just grind the tack off, do whatever you want, and tack it again. So that is how we've created adjustability within these arms. I may go ahead and get Damon to make me some actual adjustable arms for this car. Also, another thing I've done is I've actually gone ahead and used Toyota 280Zx struts and shocks for these adjustable coilovers. So I had the damper adjustable ones, but they were actually too long, so I couldn't get the car as low as I wanted it. So we actually had the 280Zx struts left over from Tara's car. I thought, hey mate, they might work, they might be the right length. They in fact are the right length, and they fit perfectly. Also 280Zx shocks ride super nicely, so hopefully that means that this is going to ride super nicely. We haven't driven it yet. So now we're going to chuck the last coilover in on the back hand side, back left side, lower the car down. I haven't actually cut the guard yet on the other side either, so I've got to do that and just chuck the bolt-on flares on the other side, and then the car should theoretically be on the ground at the height that we want, and we can actually take it for a drive. But we may or may not get to do that, obviously. And also I've got the plates on the car, which is super awesome. The paperwork turned up, so I went down and got the registration. So now this car is completely legal to drive on the road, which is freaking awesome. It's the perfect weather for it as well, so I'm just super pumped. So yeah, let's go ahead, chuck this last coilover in, see if we can get this car on the ground and sitting at the height that we want at the back with the toe settings that we want as well. So this side is now all done as well, which is rad. As you can see, the wheel is sitting definitely more center now, which is nice. So we're going to let it down for the first time, hopefully on its own weight on these springs, and kind of see how it's going to sit. Alrighty, here we go. Come on, 280. Whew. That's actually really not a bad height at all. Oh yes! Woohoo! That's what you want. It actually looks like the perfect height. Looks like the wheel might even be towing out a little bit. It's definitely center. I have to get the toe plates out. The only thing I really want to do is dial some camber out, because at the moment it looks a bit funky with the flares, and the wheels not filling the flares out as much as they could, but other than that, it looks sick. Damn. Alrighty, so once again, it is another day. We're back smashing out work on the Z, and I'm really hoping to get this thing sitting exactly how I want it sitting today. So what I've done on this side is I swapped the springs from the front and the rear that we had in, because I had the softer springs in the rear, stiffer springs in the front, and that wasn't working. So I've swapped them around on the side, and it's fixed it perfectly. I've also managed to dial out some camber on this side, which is really nice, and the car is sitting quite nicely. So I'll probably go a little lower than this, but first I'm going to do the same on the other side with swapping the springs. But also, I was shopping on Facebook Marketplace and I came across a ducktail spoiler, which is super hard to find for these cars, especially here in Australia, and they're usually really expensive, but this one came up super cheap. This is just a test fit at the moment to make sure that it's going to fit how I want it. I've got to shave a little bit more off the fiberglass to make it sit flat, and then we'll spray it black properly, but I think it looks freaking awesome. So that's pretty much gonna finish the exterior look that we want for this car. So what I'm gonna do is swap these springs over. I'm gonna chuck this front flare on. I'm gonna double check the alignment to make sure it's all good, and then we should have the 280Zx sitting and looking exactly how we want it. I'm so stoked. This has been an epic build so far. It's come together so quickly. The days are beautiful and I can't wait to actually drive this thing on the road. So as you can see at the front here, we've slotted out the front holes so I can move this back and forwards this way, and that lets me adjust the toe. And then we're going to slot these ones out up and down, and that allows us to adjust the camber, because as you move it upwards we get more positive camber, and obviously downwards more negative camber, but we don't want more negative camber, we want more positive camber, because these things get a huge amount of negative camber when you lower them lots. So we'll slot that out, chuck it all back together, and then of course we need the stiffer spring from the front, because this is the softer spring which we had in the rear, but it was too soft. So yeah, it's just all about finding the perfect balance. Cool, so that's bolted all in, and I've also pulled the spring out of the front. So these are the different spring rates. As you can see, this one is much thicker than this one, so this one's going in the front, this one's going in the rear. Alrighty, so the suspension is all in. Just got to chuck this wheel on and the car can go on the ground for hopefully the last time. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this car has really fought me today. Stripped a couple of bolts, everything's been quite hard for some reason. You know, you have those days where cars are really easy to work on, everything goes right. Today was not one of those days. But we have pushed through and we're going to get this thing on the ground, and hopefully we can take it for a drive. Got this flare on, everything's looking pretty good, so let's just get it done. Alrighty, so that's how it's sitting. A little bit high for some reason on the left hand side, even on this side it's a bit high, so we'll back it out here and we're going to adjust the height a little bit. Alrighty guys, so I've set the heights. I'm pretty happy with how high it's sitting, slash how low it's sitting now. which is rad. I still have a couple of things to touch up in terms of the alignment. Me and Tara will get the toe plates out and actually set the alignment properly. But really stoked with the way this thing has come out. Looks freaking awesome. I just took it for a drive down the street. Unfortunately, my GoPro's flat, so I couldn't film it, but drives well. There's a couple of little rubbing issues, but nothing that I can't take care of quickly. It's riding really nicely on these springs though, which is nice. Not too stiff, thank God. But I'm really stoked with how this thing's come out. Alrighty guys, that is the end of this mammoth episode. And the 280Zx is road legal, looking beautiful, and obviously there's a bunch of little things that I want to do to it, tidy up the engine bay, just a whole bunch of other little things, but as it sits, I can drive it, which is pretty awesome. And now I need to focus my attention on 2020 and the E36, which is under this cover. We've got a full set of brand new doors here, brand new kits. We're going to refresh this thing. We've got a ZF gearbox to throw in it. We're going to fully refresh the subframe. This thing is going to be brand spanking new for the 2020 drift season, which I'm really excited about. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you hit that button, hit that like button as well. Follow me on Instagram @itsmikelake, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.